Are we rolling, Dave?
I believe we're rolling, yes.
Got the mic turned on?
Ah, thank you. There we go. Looks like I have this.
Can everybody hear me okay? Do we need to turn this up? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Well, first of all, welcome everybody to this last Sunday of June, June 28th. The year is almost half over. It's hard to believe. But I want to, like I said, welcome everybody for coming out today. We have a short service planned for today. Hoping for some interaction from everybody in the crowd. So if you saw your letter or email, we are going to ask for participation from everyone that feels comfortable to come up and talk. So we don't have a guest speaker and we can't have a hymn sing. So we're going to make good of what we can do. Got the order of service here. So as far as announcements go, just want to remind everybody, starting next Sunday will be Pastor Billy Lou's first Sunday here, and our service is going to be changed to 9:30. It'll be 9:30 from next week forward. Every Sunday will be 9:30. It will be a chance for Billy Lou will be able to be here prior to the service, because shortly after the service is over, she needs to go to St. Louis, because their service starts at 11. So if you want to have some personal one-on-one time with Pastor Billy Lou, it's suggested just come before the service to do that. Are there any other announcements?
Dave, I just have a question. Are we going to have a welcome thing for her or anything? Or before the service? Or, we usually have something for you,
Yeah. It wasn't talked about. I'm kind of anticipating next week's service will be similar to this format. I don't think the district or the conference is going to let us meet inside yet. Unless something comes out this week. So, what's people's thoughts on that? Do you want to do something similar to what we did? We still have cookies in the freezer. I mean,
I think once things die down, and have, where you can congregate closer and serve stuff and.
yeah, I'm sure she'll understand if we
Oh, yeah.
don't plan something the first week. So,
I just was wondering,
right.
Communion.
Communion we have talked about it. Nothing concrete has been set what that will look like, or when it will begin. But Pastor Billy Lou has got some ideas, and we'll probably have it sooner. Let's see, next week would be the first Sunday, but I don't think it will happen next week. I'm sure of that.
Hold the mic closer to you and talk into it more directly. Did you hear me?
Any more announcements? How about prayer requests?
I would like a prayer request because I have a bum leg and foot that I've been doctoring for 4 months and it's not getting much better. They really don't know what's wrong with it. They're suggesting they go in one spot for surgery, and I said, no way, unless you know what it is. I'm not gonna have my leg cut open.
Okay, did everybody hear that? Lily's got trouble with her leg. Is it your knee or your leg?
It's my leg and it goes, it's not my knee, it's this part of the leg and the foot. It started out with red spots.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, Dave, we lost one of our members. Probably a lot of you didn't know her because she wasn't a church daughter. Denise Betting. She was in Babylon and here on Inwood Road in Merrill. So she passed away her services last week.
Okay, thanks, Sharon.
I didn't hear that.
Denise Fetting
Yeah,
passed away.
well, she did. Okay. Well, last week.
We need continued prayers for Terry Nagel. He's still in the hospital. He's not improving very much. He did not have a stroke, but it's related to medication and some neurology problems. But he's not improving like they had hoped, so please keep him and their entire family in your prayers.
Where is he?
He's in Alma.
Any other announcements or requests? Okay, let's assume an attitude of prayer. Loving God, thank you for bringing each of us safely to this place this morning. We gladly surrender our lives to you in worship and praise. As we gather, we remember those who are not with us today. For those who are sick, we ask for healing. For those that are hurting emotionally or spiritually, we ask that you comfort them with guidance. And for those away from us, we ask for your blessing to be on them. We especially ask for your blessings on those whose names were shared with us this morning. We invite your beautiful Holy Spirit to move freely amongst us. Come dwell in each of our hearts. Equip us, challenge us, comfort us, teach us. Inspire us as we learn more about your majestic ways. Father, as we meet now, may we behold your beauty and encounter your grace. We ask all this in the wonderful name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. Would you please join me in the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Today's scripture comes from Deuteronomy 31, verses 6 through 8. Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord your God, he is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Then Moses called Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, be strong and of good courage, for you must go with this people to the land which the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them. And you shall cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, he is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be dismayed. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
Well, the next thing on our program this morning is our discussion, personal comments. Kind of summarized what was sent out to everybody. Let's see if we can make it stick. So like I said in the beginning, we don't have a guest speaker and we could not have a hymn sing, so we were going to ask for interaction from everybody. What has been some of the biggest challenges? You know, during this quarantine, it's been over 3 months now since we've been restricted and haven't been able to have church. You know, couldn't go anywhere. You know, things were shut down for so long. So just looking for some interaction and some comments. You know, it'll be a learning experience for everybody. It could be something good, something bad, something you struggled with, something that you learned about yourself. We've learned about the church. So I'm opening it up to anybody. I mean, I've got some comments, but I don't need to go first, so is there somebody that feels comfortable coming up and talking first? Okay.
I kind of thought about it this morning and ran through the lists here. Biggest challenge I thought during this quarantine time, of course, is just not seeing anybody. Not seeing family, not seeing church family. My mother's been in, she's in Arbor Grove, and we saw her for the first time personally last week. And she was thrilled, of course, because she's
Sure she
very
was.
tied up there. So that was the biggest challenge, I think. It was easier, I think, to adjust to the quarantine than most people thought, for me anyway. And I'm kind of thankful that I'm in a rural area. I can't imagine being shut up in an apartment in New York City or someplace like that and being quarantined. Yeah, we are quarantined, but I've got a big backyard and a woods and a garden, and there's lots of things to do. I was never bored during this quarantine, so I think we can be thankful that rural folks maybe have an advantage over those folks in the urban areas. Positive outcomes, we got lots of work done. Closets cleaned that were never cleaned before. Those types of things. Got better at putting together puzzles. We had a ping pong table full of puzzles, and I got a little more patient. Actually could sit down and actually do one when I could get ahead of Loretta, because she when she gets at him, she just goes nuts. She can't stop once she gets it. But got a lot of little projects done, little things that just need to be done you never can get to. What kind of positive outcomes? You learn to cherish your time together with folks. You just when you can finally see those people again, like right now, you just learn to cherish this kind of time. As far as the last couple, I've been very proud of this congregation over the last year. We had a situation where we had a lady of color coming to our church in rural Breckenridge. And I'm sure it was a great challenge for her to think about coming to a place like this. And I saw nothing that was discriminatory or any kind of racial issue at all. I mean, it was like Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Don't judge me by the color of my skin, judge me by the color of my character." And I think we did a great job with that. We're going to miss Monique. She did a great job here. And I just wish her well with the new place in Battle Creek, which I hear is going to be maybe a little bit of a challenge. And I think we're a richer congregation because of her presence. And you think about that time when you're sitting at home and there's not a whole lot to do. So those are my comments. Next.
Anybody else? Angie?
Well, ditto on most of what Dave said. He kind of covered the whole thing. So, but I was just getting used to being home. I retired 1 year ago, the 26th of June. So I was just getting used to kind of staying home and not going every day and doing, and so it was a little bit of a challenge, but not as much as it would have been if I had been working, I don't think. So that helped. But I think another thing that Dave didn't mention was we like to go out to eat maybe once, sometimes twice a week. It depends, I like to cook, but I get tired of cooking, so I get tired of thinking of what to have to cook, so So that was a little challenge. We went from maybe eating, like I said, eating out once a week or twice to maybe once a month, and we would maybe order a pizza, and I would go get it and bring it home. So that was kind of a challenge, and just learning how to be contained with someone all the time. It was a challenge sometimes. A lot of times I'd go my way and he'd stay where he wanted to, and I'd go off and do something else and clean a closet or, do something like that. So, but all in all, and not seeing relatives, like Dave said. I have a 103-year-old aunt down in Lansing that we're going down this afternoon, and first time I've seen her since, oh gosh, it must have been maybe December that we seen her last, or maybe January, I can't remember for sure, but we're very happy that she stayed healthy, and we get to see her today, so, and my cousins, so, but that,
What aunt was that? Because I used to know.
okay,
Your whole
it was
family
my
when they
mom's,
came.
sister, Viola Schoonmaker,
Okay,
uh,
well,
Viola Strong,
okay.
it was her maiden name, but, yeah, so,
I remember her, she used to come
But-
camping with us once in a
yeah,
while.
and she still lives on her own, so, she is in her own home and living by herself, so, she's extraordinary, believe me, so, remembers things that I can't remember, so, it's just amazing, so, anyway, but that, I think, pretty much sums up what, our trials and our tribulations of this, COVID-19, and I hope that it is soon over. I hope they don't close us back down like they've talked. I think there would be a lot of unhappy people. So not that it wouldn't be good if it is spreading again, but I hope that we
There are
don't.
some states where it is spreading. I have a friend
Yeah.
that lives in Florida, and it's going like wildfire
Yeah,
down there,
so,
she said.
anyway, but that's my comments.
Thank you. I guess I can go right now. The biggest challenges, similar to what Dave said, was not seeing people, not seeing our family, not seeing our grandkids. Of course, not seeing Dave's mom. We still haven't seen her. And just not seeing people in general. We are still both working, and so Dave always works at home, so then I was working at home. And we do have offices on different levels, so that worked out really well. So, but just, it's great to be able to get out and see people again. And another challenge was for the kids. I've seen our kids, our grandkids struggle, and I know that there's a lot of kids out there that are struggling a lot more than they are. But, their world was tipped upside down. Everything they enjoyed, was kind of taken away, and I certainly hope that this next year that they can get back in school and they can get back at playing some of their sports and stuff like that they like. Easier than expected. It was easier to stay home. We were probably going more than we should have been. We were never home. And so it was nice to stay home, get some things done, just have a little bit more of a relaxed schedule for a while. And I think that's something that we will probably continue. I can very easily work from home, so I'm working from home 3 days a week and only going to the office twice a week now that we've opened back up. So that was easier than expected, but it changed. Some of those changes are good. Positive outcomes. Personally, I started walking every morning because I had time to do it, and so I plan to keep that up. And just going back to a little bit more simple life, which I think everybody kind of learned about, and I think that is something that I hope some people will continue to do. not going out to eat so much, saving a little bit of money on all the things that we used to do. So hopefully we'll continue with some of those things. The changes in our lives, you know, the simplistic, going forward as a church. Along with Dave, I was very pleased with our church of what we continue to do. We continue to try to meet with the kids, put some things online for them to do. We had some Zoom meetings, but I think one of the positive changes for this church is to continue to use technology in the Zoom meetings, so we don't always have to drive into the church and spend our time doing that, and also the expense for the church. But one of the things of a positive outcome is, you know, I realize that the church is the people and it's not the building, and I think that we've all been very pleasantly surprised on how supportive our church has been monetarily and just with each other, and I think that's something that we really need to continue to do as disciples. I feel fortunate that, you know, I always had somebody to talk to, you know, and I know that there are people out there that are lonely and struggling, that live alone, but that's hard for them. So I think we really have to look out for those people, and we need to reach out to them more. So that's where I'm at, and I hope, like Angie said, I certainly hope it gets better, and I certainly hope that through the rest of the summer that we can get back at a normal life.
Someone else coming up? Okay.
Well, my journey through this has been completely everything that you have experienced, but a little bit different too. But I want to start out and say, first of all, the cross behind us is very special to me. That was Joel's last project for the church. Monique, at one of our, I think it was at our worship committee meeting, said, you know, do we have a stand-up cross? And we said, well, not really. So I said, I'll see if Joel wants to make one. And this was, I don't know, Loretta, was it back in January or so? Yes. And of course I went home, and Joel, I got a project for you, you know, and he loved to work in the shop. And Bethany and I took him down to Home Depot on a Sunday afternoon, and he walked in, and we had to have the wheelchair before he got out. But he picked out all of his own wood and everything, and he did a lot of research because of the size, proportion. It had to be a certain way. And he researched it all and figured out how much wood he needed, and we got it home. And then, you know, he contacted Russ and Bob Edgar, and they helped him. I remember Bob telling me that Joel cut out the pieces. He was there to help, but Joel cut out the pieces and everything. Well, it got to a certain stage, and then Joel, you know, was unable to finish it. But thank goodness for Russ and Bob, and they took it, and Russ finished staining it and putting the varnish on it and things. So, but that was Joel's last project to the church, and so I'm so glad to see it out here. He would be very, very proud of that and everything. But I think the biggest thing I've learned is patience. You know, when suddenly, you know, your best friend, your husband, you know, is gone, and I could not be with other people. It was just me and the good Lord looking after me. And it was not an easy route, but I'm here today, and I didn't even know if I could walk up here and do this, but I wanted to share, and thank goodness for telephones, my cell phone, my landline. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't have called me at times, or I called you. And my daughter was so good to me. She has a lot of her father in her. She came every weekend. She couldn't come this weekend, but she'll be here, I think, on Thursday to spend the weekend with me. But I made it. There are days I wonder how I'm going to do it, but just like so many of you have been through the same thing. But when you can't even have a closing, you know, we don't know when his funeral is going to be, his celebration, but I think he deserves something, and I don't want to just have one where it's just a few people. So, you know, it may be a while, but we're going to still celebrate Joel's life and so on. But learning the patience and, you know, being on my own for the first time. I've never been on my own, you know. I went right from college. You know, we were married our senior year in college, and all of a sudden Diane had to learn to do all these things. You know, I always worked alongside Joel, but guess what? He always set things up. He always took care of the mess afterwards. So I've had a lot of learning to do, you know, but thank goodness for friends, and Russ comes and helps me at times and things. I really appreciate that, and Sebastian as well, you know, they said they would be there, and I know Joel appreciates that, but I just appreciate all the cards and the phone calls and everything, and the prayers that were said for us, and, you know, we're making it. It's been a struggle, but we're coming, and I just am so lucky. I have a beautiful home. You know, I didn't have to go through the flood. I had many friends from Florida that would call and say, were you close to the floods? I said, well, I'm directly south of them, but I'm, you know, 27, 30 miles away, so I'm very, very lucky and things. So compared to so many people, I have many, many blessings, you know, I am so thankful for. And, you know, one of them is the church here. And Monique was just wonderful to us. I can't say enough about that, and I wish her luck and her next part of her journey and so on. And where our journey takes us, we have a lot to look forward to with a new pastor coming on, and I think, you know, we're there, we're ready for it, and we'll work together, and we hopefully will be on the right, you know, keep on the right track and everything. And I just appreciate everything you've done for us, and I just hope my patience will hang in there for me and get me through all of this and so on. So thank you for listening this morning, and good luck to all of you, and we just hope that this will get better. It's got to get better, you know. Well, it's the only place we can go is up, so thank you.
I always got a lot to say. Thank you. Our situation was a little bit different than everybody else's, I think. I don't know if you don't happen to know. My wife and I fell.
Put it close to your mouth.
Put it closer.
My wife and I fell in Florida, and she broke her hip. And we were having trouble, and friends called the girls and said, your folks are need help, and so they sent us tickets, and we came home in February instead of April. So, but I want to thank everybody for their prayers and cards and everything. That we couldn't believe that the different people brought in food and offered to do things, get groceries for us, and the kids would would make a list, and they'd get groceries for us every week. And just remarkable that people that wouldn't even thought about would do something like that did, and still are. We're getting things all the time. A lady called the other day and says, is it time for another quiche? And I go, well, yeah. But we found out how good people can be. And I'm the one that's doing the cooking and the cleaning, or was. Nancy's starting to do things now, but she's on oxygen 24 hours a day. And she's been tied up since December the 6th, either in the hospital or nursing home or staying at home. So she's getting bored and ready, wants to get out. The only place we've been to is to the doctor. I've got a little oxygen tanks that we can take with her. And so she's hoping to start to get out a little more. But our kids have been just wonderful. And the people from the church, and Monique came out and seen us and visited us. Oh,
Yeah. It is. Why don't you switch to this one, Larry? That one probably was better.
How about say I didn't think I'd even need a mic.
There you go.
But I couldn't thank you and everybody else for the way everybody treated us. They helped us out with getting groceries when we couldn't get out. And Monique was out and seen us before this. We were kept in the house. When we first got home, she was out and seen us. And she's been very good to us. We appreciate it. And I don't know what people do without their church. We was able to get our church in Florida on the Facebook. He was on the sermon every year, every Sunday. And we got calls from Florida, of course, friends and stuff. But it brought out the good in people, I think. But they come out and help other people and stay thoughtful of other people. And all the telephone calls we got, we really appreciate it. So I think the Lord was with us. Thank you.
first of all, I want to say thank you to this church for welcoming me here. You've all been so kind and so nice to me. And I should say welcoming, that's hard to get out, welcoming me back, because I went here years ago, didn't I, Larry? When I was a teenager, and you and Angie are probably the only ones that remember that.
I remember
but
when you came.
do you really?
Yeah.
I
Your
sang in the
mom and
choir.
dad and your two sisters.
My one
They
sister.
were two sisters.
I had
Two
one
girls.
sister and a brother,
Yeah.
yes. So, it's nice to be back. And I'm so thankful that Jim and I are together through this time, because we don't know what we would have done without each other. We're extremely happy together, and that's just an amazing thing. And I think one of the hardest things is not knowing what day it was. You know, when you don't come to church on Sunday, it's just another day, and you just, so yeah, that was kind of a difficult thing, you know, knowing what day it was. But I kept very busy doing some redecorating, and so it wasn't that I was bored at all, and Jim is never, I mean, you know, you can't keep him down at all. So he's out doing something or out to that shop, or so it,
That's what a farmer's life
that's what,
is.
yeah, that's what I know it, and that's awesome. But he didn't tell you that he hurt his foot really bad last night. Half of the tractor fell on it, and his toes are really in bad shape. They're all black and bloody, and so
Why
anyway.
did that happen, Jim? Did you have it breaked up good?
It was a set of forks on front of my little tractor. It was both been hooked on, and I latched them. I thought I latched them. Pulled the fork over, and they come down on my foot.
Yes. So he's kind of hurting.
No excuses on Tuesday though when we go.
He's a little worried about that.
I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess that's about it, but thank you so much, everybody.
Anybody else gonna come up and talk? Okay.
I just want to say from here, I've had all the same problems that everybody else has had, but I'm missing the sports this summer going and seeing those little ones from here play whatever, because I would go every time they had a game, if I knew it, if I could manage it. And I miss that.
Thanks, Lily.
Everyone that knows me knows I'm a procrastinator, and they know I don't like to get up in front of people, and Jim, don't look like that. I thought about it all this time. I've known, but I didn't know what to write until this morning. As I said, I'm a procrastinator. So the biggest challenge is staying home. Most of the time I was pretty content. I've been alone for 11 years, and so it wasn't a lot different. And I was just happy to be in my own home, to have shelter, because we all know there are a lot of people out there that don't have a home. They had nowhere to go, and I felt pretty fortunate to see that I did. And wearing a mask drove me nuts to go up to Silas and see nobody in a mask, and some of the things that went on, people checking out, blowing their nose, putting their fingers on the ATM machines, and I'm like, oh. You know, what is wrong with you? But my daughter-in-law, who works at Health Source as a nurse, called me one day early on in the virus and said, can you make us some masks? They are allotting us one mask per 12-hour shift. So I talked to Loretta. Loretta helped me out. We made them masks. And I went on to make more masks for more family members and such. It was a challenge, but the outcome was I remembered how much I loved to sew, but I broke my sewing machine, the last mask I was making. So I'll have to get that fixed. And I thought about my generation, which is a lot of you here. You know, we lived through a lot. And I think the virus and the polio, how our parents feared, oh my gosh, we'd get a sore neck and they wanted to take us to the doctor. It was scary. And there were no vaccines for so many childhood diseases like there are now, and people still refuse to get vaccinated. Can't figure that one out. And the challenge is, can't read my writing. The challenge is we need to be grateful and listen to the guidelines that those who are in the know have set forth. It's the only way we'll get through this and it will end, but we all have to do our part. Family. I saw some of my family, one person every day, but I did see them. My one son, who's an RN in Midland, said, keep a mask by the door, and when somebody comes, put it on. Well, I did, when he came, nobody else. But I was pretty careful, even living by myself. I was brought up, I think, by a germ-conscious mother. But my daughter and her family came yesterday, and it was the first time I saw them in 4 months. And I thought, you know, it's been 4 months since I had been with her. But I thought about the people who will never be with people again because of this virus, and I felt pretty darn thankful. Church. We'll open, and hopefully we'll be more aware of what we can do as a small church. We have shown that we're very capable, and I think this has been a challenge, and there's some good in everything, and maybe the good is in this virus that we have learned we can work together. We can do things that challenged us, and it works out. And our challenge is just to pray, do your part, and remember, we're all important. And then this morning, I was thinking my granddaughter Kylie, who died several years ago at the age of 19, and part of her obituary was something that her parents had found. She wanted to be an archaeologist. I said, what is, I thought it was something studying bugs. And she said, it's people. She said, I said, well, what do you want to do with this education? And she said, I want to travel the world and find out how other cultures live and why they do what they do. I said, can I go with you? And she said, yeah. Well, I doubt if she would have wanted me for long, but anyway, the saying was, until he has unconditional and unbiased love for all beings, man will not find peace. And I think that's very true. Another one I like is from Grandma Moses. Life is what you make it, always has been, always will be. And my main thing is you people. Julie said to me one day after Jerry died, what would you have done without the church? I don't know, and I think about it often. What would I have done? I look at you people, some I kind of knew, many I didn't. But I think of you as family, and you're all pretty darn special.
Anybody else? I got someone coming up here. Hold it nice and close to your mouth.
Wow, it's been a long time since I felt something really close to me. I live alone.
You gotta hold it.
I live alone. And this COVID thing, I thought, well, this isn't going to be a big deal for me. Well, it turned out to be a big deal, really. You know, I'm usually an up person. And I call Sharon and go, you're not going to believe it, but I'm going to cry. She goes, well, you're so uppity. But just talking to her made me happy to move on. And God bless her taking me shopping to get out of the house. once a week, and that's where I miss you guys so much. And you don't think about that. I didn't think about living by myself, what it was going to be like. But I find myself talking to my cat and thinking she's going to respond. But then I sit back and go, oh, I wish Jim was here so I could talk to him. Just those little things I used to tell him while I was working. So anyways, COVID has made me realize that I am independent, but I have angels around me. We got Paula, Jim, and Sharon, and all of you guys, really. And it's not so bad being out in the country. And I do have to get a dog, though. Not everybody uses a doorbell. But has anybody pondered the thought of how are we going to have to catch up between memorials and everybody, you know, we're going to put it off until we can all get together. All right, we're going to be booked, completely booked with things to do. So I guess it's nice that the weather's good. Usually when you take a vacation like this, it's raining. So I think we're blessed to have this beautiful day and everything. I listened to everyone, and most everyone, I had the same thoughts. And this COVID also, I think, relates to the Bible an awful lot, whether it be the hard times. The mind-boggling thing for me is it's universal. It's the whole world. It's not just Breckenridge. It's not just Michigan. It's the whole world. And I've never experienced anything like that, ever. And in response to Diane's question, or even Joyce, about not knowing what day it is, there is a channel on regular TV that every 2 hours they come in, this is the day, and it's right on the screen. He goes, it's a Wednesday. It doesn't tell what month, but I think they figure out that we know the month, but that's the day. I think that's about it. I love coming here on Sunday. I love being out and doing something. I could honestly say I didn't have my sweatpants on all the time. But like I said, I'm accustomed to being by myself. I do have a lot of projects that are waiting for me to do. So I'm never without a project at all. And I thank the Lord for that. And Sharon. And they keep me busy. Anyways, I'm glad we're here today. I would like it outside in the summer, all summer. I keep bringing my umbrella because I want to sit in the sun, but no. Okay, guys.
Well, I'll go ahead and share my thoughts, and then whoever wants to come up afterwards, we're coming up. Like Karen said, the stay-at-home was really nothing new for me because I do work at home. My office is in my home. My boss is in Minnesota, and I have co-workers in every state, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois, Ohio, Wisconsin. So, you know, we have, nothing was different. We still have monthly conference calls, and I have one-on-one calls with my boss that are planned, whether we need to talk or not. But so nothing really changed as far as staying at home. Some of the, you know, just some of the changes that I think that we've come across. I think the technology, you know, the Zoom meetings, and like Karen said, I think we'll continue to have, maybe not every meeting, but at least some of our church council meetings and finance meetings and so forth over Zoom, so we don't have to come into the church. You know, it's especially in the winter months, if the roads are bad, or, you know, when it gets dark, you know, we have some members that don't like to drive after dark, so why not just stay at home and have our meeting? You know, it worked fine, you know. we have continued to record our services. Pastor Monique would do this, and several volunteers. I know Angie did it quite often. Leisha did it. I did it. You did it. Hope I'm not missing somebody, but probably some people that aren't here. But yeah, good participation. You know, those are all on our website. You can go and look at them. And we, I know Karen San Miguel has been able to track how many hits we get, how many people are watching them. So I don't have that information, but that's something we want to continue even after we start meeting in the sanctuary. We want to record our services, make them available. We've reached some people that don't normally come. And maybe there's people out there that are looking for a church. And maybe they'll find us, and maybe they'll come and visit us in person sometime. So that's something we want to continue to do, is record our services and have them available. And I think something that we've learned that will become to help us become better disciples, and several people have talked on this, but again, I think it's reaching out to those that live at home. You know, we had a meeting and somebody just mentioned that they were really lonely. They hadn't seen their kids or grandkids, and this is just after a month or two into the shutdown, and it just hit me just like that. You know, that we are fortunate. You know, we had each other at our house. We didn't see our grandkids for very long, or for at first, but we did eventually see them, probably sooner than we should have. But there are people that are alone, and I think we can't depend on just the outreach committee. I think we all need to take that initiative and call on somebody. You know, someone that you are used to seeing that you haven't seen for a while. Just pick up the phone and call them. If you need the church directory, see Karen San Miguel about it, or Michelle. We've got that printed. We've got it in a PDF format. They can email it to you. So you've got everyone's addresses, or I mean at least emails, maybe their phone numbers. I can't remember. There's one of those things that aren't on there. But if you need to reach out to somebody, let's let somebody know. We can get the number for you. So, but that's kind of what I think we've learned out of it. That I think we're being better Christians by caring more, you know, and reaching out to those that we don't normally see. So, anybody else have any comments? Miss the singing, yes.
I'll be so glad when we can get back to our singing.
Yeah. Anybody else want to come up and share some thoughts?
I'd like to go further with the Bible, where you start to take COVID. Now grace is grace. Like we're all sitting back, and we have to get it as we start over.
Okay. Well, I just want to kind of, end here that, you know, everyone has their different level of respect and fear, you know, and I think it's important that everybody respect each other's situation, each other's individual perceptions of the COVID. Some people, you know, wear masks everywhere. Some people don't wear a mask at all. I just think everyone needs to be safe. So. Okay, and I guess if there's nothing else, I just want to remind everybody that church will be at 9:30 next week. Here, it'll be probably in the parking lot, or it may be inside. But so as the benediction, may tomorrow be a perfect day. May you find love and laughter along the way. May God keep you in His tender care till He brings us together again. Thank you for joining us this morning. Be safe on your travels home and throughout the coming week. Amen.